Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a C.A.T.S, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow podcast.
Welcome to C.A.T.S Networking. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Angela?
I am good. And please help me pronounce your first name correctly.
It's Csilla, like Sheila, but with a CH sound. Csilla.
Csilla. Love that.
Yes.
It's interesting, but where did that come from? I'm just curious.
I'm actually Hungarian, and so it's a Hungarian name, and that's why it's spelled so differently and pronounced so differently.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So tell us about you, Csilla, make sure I pronounce that correctly, and what you do for coaches, authors, thought leaders, and speakers.
Yes. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's so exciting to be here and chat with you. My name is Csilla Muscan. I am a public speaker and a public speaking coach and consultant. I am also the founder and CEO of Speaking Made Simple company. And my greatest passion and joy is to teach female leaders how to communicate not only confidently, but effectively. And inside the Speaking Made Simple company, we help women in business and in the workplace learn how to upgrade their speaking skills so they can elevate their impact and their income as a result. I would say in a nutshell, that's pretty much me.
Yeah, in a nutshell. So I know you have many different techniques. Give us the either your favorite or the number one technique on how you help speakers with their confidence on stage.
Yeah, so I usually focus on three main areas. I think a lot has to do with our mindset. So we focus a lot on mindset, delivery, obviously our verbal and nonverbal communication techniques, and then also our message. The number one tip I would tell people who are just starting out is to actually practice every single day for 1 minute speaking out loud in the comfort of their own home, but speaking as though they were speaking to a group of people. I think that's a great place for people who are just starting out, feeling more comfortable speaking in front of others.
Yes. So, of course, my partner and I, we have a business that does something similar. And what we found is that there's two types of speakers. And I'm going to ask if you've run into this and what you would suggest. Some people who are starting out speaking just need to tell their story. And then there's others that are, more professional or have told their story and maybe gotten through the wound and into their practice. What have you found? Because both are empowering, but what have you found is I'd say the bell curve of the people that you work with? And what do you tell people that probably are beginning speakers that just need to tell their story?
Yes, so that's a great question and great distinction. I find the same thing. I mostly work with women who are either business owners and leaders in their company. They're the face of their company, and they just really need to hone in on their message. They need to know how to deliver that message really well to an audience, to be strategic in their delivery. But I also work with women who just, as you said, they want to be able to, first of all, clarify their own message, because I think so many times it's hard for us to even just sit down and kind of tell our story in a succinct way. And I think it's so powerful. I think every single woman should have her story heard. And the way that I usually do that is I actually have a workshop that I teach on how to clarify and craft your signature story, because there's a formula to it. And I think that makes it easier for women.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your business structure, how you work with people.
Business structure, Yes. So I have obviously one-on-one consulting and coaching. I work with people one-on-one, and then just recently launched a new division inside Speaking Made Simple company called Speaking Made Simple Society. Is basically an ongoing mentorship where I teach women how to hone in on their public speaking skills, how to learn to deliver their message better. And that's basically an ongoing membership that is called the Speaking Made Simple Society. So that's kind of like, I have the one-on-one coaching, I have the society, and then I do in-person or online workshops. Those are usually either 4-hour long or 1 or 2 days. Those are more focused in on specific skills, kind of like, how to create your signature story.
Mm-hmm. And who are your clients? Are you working mostly with individuals that find you, or are you also helping companies like Google or, with their executives?
So I mostly work with either executives of companies or the business owners themselves, small business owners. I also recently started working with companies like banks, where I would come in and teach a workshop or do a workshop for specifically for people who are in sales positions who have to do presentations in front of others. So usually those are the people that I work with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And as we all know, public speaking is the number one fear. And so
it's up there.
It's up there. So I'm so curious. I know there's many techniques. I'm curious about your favorite and most empowering and impactful technique you use to take, let's say, somebody who has to get in front of an audience who's just deathly scared to do so. What is one of your number one, let's say, secret techniques? How do you help those people?
Oh, that's a great question. And it's usually, it's a journey. I mean, I would always say if someone expects to be able to go from being horrified of the stage and being able to step on stage confidently overnight, that's not going to happen. So it's definitely a journey. What I found is that a lot of the fear that we face is psychological. It's a mindset thing. So I usually work a lot with honing in on what is driving, what is that fear, what's fueling, I should say, the fear. But the other thing that I found to be extremely helpful with people is when they know their message, once we clarify, I think a lot of the mystery is what's causing the fear, is a lot of the unknown of not knowing what to do, how to do it well. And so once we figure out what is the structure, and we practice and practice and practice, by the time they get to the stage, it's kind of like, well, I'm just doing it for the 50th time, right? So it's like, it's not so scary anymore. But I definitely think that a lot of it has to do with just first realizing that fear is always going to be a part of this. Even people who have done speaking for a very long time still feel anxious before they step on stage. So instead of trying to get rid of fear, to work with fear and getting it under control, working with our body and knowing how to get that under control as well, and then knowing our stuff and practicing, I think those would be probably my top three.
So now you're talking my language when you talk body. So 93%. So as we know, studies have shown, many scientific studies have shown that 93% of our communication, of all communication, is nonverbal. How do you address that with your speakers?
Yes. So that's such a great thing, because I think so many people focus on what they're saying, and that's such a small percentage of what we actually communicate. So our voice, so working on that, when we speak, I think a lot of people, because they don't speak a lot out loud, their vocals are not trained, or they're not strong enough. And so when they start speaking, the voice starts shaking. So working with the voice specifically, because that's about 38% of our communication, and then 55%, right, is what others see. And so working with, what do we do with our face? What do we do with our body, our shoulder, our posture, open posture, our hands, even our feet? Which way is the feet pointed at? And those are all like very technical things that can be learned and practiced. And obviously, the more somebody does it, the more natural it comes. But what I learned that even before we get to the body part, we need to still work through the mindset so that the body will then follow.
Yeah. So now I'm curious. Describe your favorite success story of your client, of a client.
Yes. Oh, I have quite a few of those. But recently, I worked with a woman. She's the CEO of her company, and she's very successful. And she was asked many times to present to other companies, but constantly turned the opportunities down because she was so afraid of presenting, even though she is, presenting in front of her own team. She's very charismatic. She did very well, but just the thought of not knowing exactly how to do a well-crafted presentation really held her back. And so she signed up to work with me. We worked 3 months together, and I taught her my formula for how I do presentations, and I helped her create one of her presentations from beginning to end. She practiced with me, and then she had the opportunity to present in front of 5,000 people at a corporate conference, and she absolutely rocked it. And ever since then, she has been probably presenting on a weekly basis. And she said that using my formula, she was able to even shrink down her time of preparation to anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. So I would say Sarah is one of the ones that I can think of recently, and she was one of my rock stars because she's, one of those students that does everything you tell her to do. And then, of course, she gets the results because once you implement what you're supposed to be doing and you show up for it, amazing things happen. So
that's fantastic. And we're starting to come to the close of our show, but I wanted to ask you, can you bullet point your formula for presentation?
Yes, I can try it. So usually, obviously, if we simplify presentations, you want to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? And the beginning and the end has to, you need to nail that one because that's the one that people are going to remember the most. So having a really solid beginning where you, and usually I even work with my clients honing in on the first 10 seconds. Like if you're doing a presentation on stage, which point are you going to walk out to? What is going to be the first couple of sentences that you're going to say at the very beginning? Because once you have that down, you feel a lot more at ease. But having your beginning really nailed, starting out with either a story, a shocking statement, a question, something that really pulls people in, hooks people in, and you also get to establish rapport. And so within that opening section, I have several things that I work with people on how to have people in the audience give a micro decision, how to respond back to you, how to have a story in there, your signature story. And then the middle part is the meaty part where you're actually doing the teaching, where you usually do the key points that you're giving away, that where you're giving tips that people can take, tangible stuff that you're teaching. And then the end, usually I say you want to make it a little bit more motivational, where you're leaving people on a high note, but also giving them an action step, call to action that they can do. And if you are doing a presentation where you're also selling something on the back end, then you definitely kind of want to weave through that offer throughout your presentation. So in a nutshell, I would say that would be my framework in a bullet point.
That's fantastic. So what's next for you? What's your big vision for yourself?
Yeah, so this new division that I just opened in my company, the Speaking Made Simple Society, is the one that I'm focusing on in the next year. We want to grow this division to a national level, and we have big dreams of mentoring thousands of women through this program. So I would say that's my big vision for the next 1 to 5 years, probably.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for taking time and sharing with us the great work that you are doing out in the world. We appreciate it so much. And how do we connect with you?
Yes. So I'm on Instagram. I have a couple of handles. I'm not going to give you my personal one because my name is so confusing. But the handle we have for the company is at speakingmadesimple.co. So not com, but .co, speakingmadesimple.co. And then also, if anybody wants a free presentation to learn in 30 minutes or less how to communicate more dynamically, they can go to speakingmadesimple.co/masterclass. That's a free class that I offer online.
Wow. Thank you so much. And such a needed gift you're giving all of us out here who, whether we like it or not, we're going to have to stand up at some point and speak out.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right.
Thank you
enjoy
so
the
much,
rest.
Angela. I really appreciate you having me on. This was fun.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by C.A.T.S Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at C.A.T.S Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message. Are you feeling isolated sitting at home in your PJs? Or perhaps you're tired of the comfy sweatpants with holes in them that are hidden just below the camera? I mean, you could puke at the thought of another day of Zoom meetings and reporting to your BOSS. Do you want freedom from your home office desk or the office cubicle? Do you want freedom from your current career? Or are you frustrated that your online biz dreams are going nowhere? It's all too overwhelming. Where do you start? All the tech, the choices, and your message. Yep, I said your message, your brand, your voice. What is it? Do you even know what that means? Do you need a biz coach but don't want to invest the big bucks? Let's face it, being a solopreneur is lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. And here's a solution. Join C.A.T.S Network. C.A.T.S Network is a woman-only membership community exclusively available to you, the life coach or executive coach, the author, the thought leader, or the public speaker. If you identify with this list or want to work on adding some of these to your skill set, C.A.T.S is the place for you. Check us out at www.catsnetworking.com. That's C.A.T.S networking.com. Because let's face it, cats are better together.